Hello, my name's Susan Darlington. I'm going to read a few poems for you today from my recent chapbook, Never Wear White. It combines real-life experience with fairy tale elements to explore aspects of what it can mean to be a woman, with a particular focus on mother-daughter relationships. It's got a broadly chronological structure, starting in her childhood, so I'll start with the book's first poem, which sets the scene. It's called A Mother's Love. I was a ravenous child. Moored by the umbilical cord, I gnawed on a cage of ribs. When they snapped, I sucked on the rich, sweet marrow. I ate liver, kidneys, pancreas, crammed in greedy handfuls of heart muscle and fibre until my belly was bloated, the skin pulled drum hard. When mother was scooped out, I pounded my reddened fists against her limpid emptiness, screamed out for more, and was starved from her womb. She gazed down at me, held out a finger to suckle, and smiled at my hunger. Tired, she didn't even flinch when I bit hard, blood running. Ursula Somville, better known as Mother Shipton, was a prophet from Knaresborough in North Yorkshire, in England. She obviously wasn't a very good prophet, as she claimed the world would end in 1881. But it's alleged that when she was born, in 1488, a storm ceased, and that's the starting point for this poem, which is called The Storm's Prophecy. The raging storm ceased the first time I cried. Mother said the wail, from a child so silent and solemn, took the wind by such surprise it stopped shaking branches to listen. That dark clouds blanched white and scudded right out of the sky. That rain paused mid-air and refracted rainbows around the room. Indigo landed in the fullness of my eyes. My head rocked back and my body spasm as prophecies scorched through my veins. When she met my gaze, she saw a crooked back, hands made of feverfew, the dried leaves of lovage, and loneliness. Always loneliness. I'm sure that many of you have read Stephen King's Carrie, or at least watched the film adaptation. Hopefully none of you will have had such a traumatic experience in the shower scene. The setting's nonetheless one that many people can relate to. As with the best of King's writing, it taps into a deep-seated anxiety. So I've used it as the starting point for this next poem, which is also called Carrie. I learn about the shame of a woman's body from my mother's handwritten notes. The ones I pass, red-faced, to my teacher, that excuse me from showers and swimming. I stand at the edge of the echoing pool, flush under the stare of my classmates, and imagine every laugh is aimed at me, humiliated by my exclusion, and worried that while I stand here, everyone can smell the iron of my blood, see the stain seeping into my skirt's fabric, and dribbling down the inside of my thighs. There is no pride in womanhood here, no sisterly bond in the changing room, when our pubescent bodies are revealed from under layers of baggy clothing, where every breastbud and roll of fat is scrutinised and found wanting, where pads and tampons are bad, but not even needing them is worse. Steeped in lessons from Carrie, we fear becoming targets of ridicule, are cruel and careless with our bodies, as we absorb a shame we don't understand. It was important for me to include a poem about female friendship in the book, which still seems to be undervalued in popular culture. So the title of the book and the poem itself is taken from a quote in Heavens to Betsy's My Red Self. I like how it alludes to menstruation and the shame around it, but also the Virgin Bride in white. And both of those meanings encompass the themes in the book. So this next piece is called Sisters. It was the summer we made a pinky promise to always be sisters. Afternoons spent locked in our bedrooms, we bloomed from schoolgirls into goddesses, with our knee-high socks, vintage camisoles, and gloops of lipstick, in the darkest plums and reds. It was the colour of menstrual blood. It was the colour of power. We used it to write slut down our arms and witch across our bellies, marvelled at how liberated we were as we sang to our favourite records. Never wear white, or our shame will creep through. Knowing that in those vinyl grooves, there was the possibility of change. I'm currently reading Jackie Collis Harvey's Red, A Natural History of the Redhead. In the introduction, she says that being a redhead is the single most significant characteristic in her life. It sounds like an exaggeration, but as a fellow redhead, there is some truth in it. I wrote this poem before I came across the book, but it covers some similar themes, so this one's called Red. This is our history, told through fire and water. It starts in our home, the place of gods and dragons that we left behind to travel over the sea to the land of angels. But what angels were these that burnt our grandmothers at the stake as witches and drowned our mothers in the village pond as heretics? Yet, child, the shame is not ours to bear. We are Lady Lazarus, and with our hair of red, we will dance in the flames, we will sing under water, and we will prevail. This next piece comes with a trigger warning about miscarriage. It was written in response to a magazine's prompt for poems that explored strong emotions associated with the songs. It was rejected by the magazine, but I still think it's pretty good, so I hope you agree. And it makes reference to Sharon Van Etten's We Are Fine. The poem itself is called It's All Right. There's blood in my pants, a cramping pain in my belly, and Sharon Van Etten is on the stereo telling me, it's all right. It's all right. I slide down the tiles, curl around the toilet bowl, try and stop the shaking by mouthing the words, it's all right. It's all right. But the song stops playing, and still nothing is all right. Because even though I ached for this child, right now, I want my mother to gather me in her arms, stroke my hair and repeat until I can really believe. It's all right. It's all right. And the final piece I'm going to read, which is also the closing piece in the book, is The Art of Childlessness. It was written as part of a project called Unmother, which invited women who were childless through choice or otherwise to respond to various prompts about the subject. So this piece is about acceptance and moving on. The art of childlessness is a matter of semantics. It's not about being childless, although it's certainly true you'll never hold a newborn who has your own green eyes, or have a daughter you love with such tender fierceness you want to lock her in a tower, away from the world's cruelties. It's not about being less of anything. It's about being child-free. Free to spend time dancing until the heart light dawn, finding your own rhythms that are giddy, raw, and real, knowing that no matter what, alone, you are complete. Thank you very much for listening.